For over 10 years, moviegoers have crammed into theaters at least twice a year to see the latest installment in a certain cinematic universe. One that delivers exceptional storylines, larger-than-life action scenes, and incredible filmmaking feats thought not previously possible, while also following through on established continuity across multiple storylines and quite literally defining the term cinematic universe. Unfortunately, that's not what we're here to talk about. Hello everybody and welcome back to If We Made. I'm Thunder.
And I'm Lightning, and this is technically episode 3. It's a long story. The DCEU. Or the DCCU? DCMU? DC Comics restarted making movies in 2013 in the cinematic universe formula that another popular movie franchise set up. The only problem is, it's not good. The recent release of the Birds of Prey movie brings the total number of films in this cinematic universe up to 8, with another 7 on the horizon. This rivals Marvel's 23 films with 8 movies on the way. Most of those movies are, put simply, bad for their own reasons.
So before we start talking about the If We Made part of the video, let's talk about what we think went wrong. We're going to briefly talk about each movie one at a time.
Man of Steel is boring, it's long, but somehow feels rushed. It's the Superman origin story done wrong, and it's honestly done pretty sloppily.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Quite a weird title for Man of Steel 2, don't you think? This movie attempted to adapt Dark Knight Returns, Batman vs. Superman, and Death of Superman in one 3-hour movie. Not to mention shoehorning in a Justice League tutorial. Needless to say, this did not go well.
Every single actor in Suicide Squad did a terrible job. All the writers did a terrible job. Why was this movie made? Why is it getting a sequel? Who wanted this movie? Does anyone like this movie?
Wonder Woman. Truly the diamond in the rough. There's some jank in this movie for sure, and it sort of screws up the dismount, but definitely the best movie in the lot. Well worth your time, in our opinion.
Justice League. Who are these people? What powers do you have? How did you get here? Wait, is Superman not in this movie? Why did this random family get so many scenes?
Oh hey, I remember this guy from the last movie. Aquaman is a mess. The plot feels like a video game, but it's executed poorly. There's no cohesion or reason to believe that the filmmakers were enjoying themselves while making it.
Wait, isn't this character called Captain Marvel? Shazam! Exclamation point! Is a step in the right direction for sure. It's the first lighthearted and sort of goofy superhero movie in the bunch. It's not without its issues though. Mainly the writing and character development between the two leads. Now those are all the separate issues that wouldn't need to all be brought up together except...
So what do we think the MCU got right? Well, for starters, all of its movies are inexplicably linked. You don't need the Hulk to appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp in order to know they're in the same universe, because the larger story and world as a whole has already been established. If I was directing Aquaman, I'd make sure one of the first bits of information I communicate to the audience is when the movie takes place, and not have it be something that's briefly mentioned by a secondary character 40 minutes in.
Sure, Disney has more money, but that shouldn't matter when we're talking about writing. Superman is so cool! He literally has the best superpowers. So then why is his movie so inscrutable? Why does it feel like it drags on for 8 hours? How did they do such a terrible job retelling a story we've all heard before? In fact, let's compare the MCU's first movie and the DCEU's first movie.
Back in 2007, did anyone care about Iron Man? Did anyone know that his real name is Tony Stark or that he has a pretty large alcohol abuse problem? Well, they sure did by 2008. Not only did Iron Man kick off the MCU with a bang, but it made Tony Stark a household name.
Now in 2012, a year before Man of Steel dropped, did anybody care about Superman? Of course they did! Superman was everywhere. Even if you only knew him as Batman's friend or Supergirl's cousin, you still knew about most of his powers and how big of a superhero he was. He was the first superhero after all. Or so it said.
Which leads us nicely into our next point. Why not just copy Marvel outright? The roadmap was right there. Marvel did all your homework for you. Just do it like that. There's no reason for a superhero cinematic universe to fail so gloriously in an age where the MCU already exists. There'd be absolutely no shame in just copying them. We'd all be too busy talking about how great the Justice League movie was to comment on how similar it is to what the MCU did. Alright, now that that's out of our system, let's talk about what we'd do.
Wait, hang on. Aren't we going to talk about Arrowverse? I thought you'd at least have mentioned it by now. Those shows are great and they're like all you ever talk about sometimes.
Oh, yeah, those aren't connected to the movies. Like, at all.
Oh, I see now. I get it. I understand the continuity we're going for. No continuity whatsoever. Makes sense. Keep going.
Thanks. Now let's talk about what we'd do. We're not going to talk about this one for too long because we already have quite a bit, but if making this cinematic universe better is as easy as copying someone else's homework, then why not?
When it comes to the DCCCCC, there's no overt continuity. It's the little things like, why was Flash in Suicide Squad? Where are the other superheroes while Shazam! Is happening? Why weren't the TV shows and the movies linked, like, at all, until the brief scene in Crisis on Infinite Earths? Sometimes Marvel movies are more enjoyable because you have so many other stories going on in the peripheral. You can't slow down and tell a single unbothered story every single movie.
Henry Cavill is done being Superman, officially. He appeared in 3 movies over the course of 4 years, and he won't be Superman ever again. The Batman, a movie coming out in 2021, stars Robert Pattinson instead of Ben Affleck, who also only appeared in 3 movies.
Take it over to Marvel and Henry Cavill's mirror opposite, Robert Downey Jr., who has appeared in 10 movies over the last 11 years. And he's not even done. He's going to be in Black Widow when it hits theaters in May. Can you imagine if Robert Downey Jr.'s contract was so flimsy that he only appeared in 3 movies? Those movies, by the way, would be Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. He wouldn't have even made it to the Avengers. And finally,
do you see this list? This is how these movies have come out and are going to come out thus far. You started with Man of Steel. Good. But then you went right into the abomination of storytelling that was Batman v Superman. Pivoting off of that, you nose planted into Suicide Squad and finished things up with Wonder Woman before rushing headfirst into the Justice League. Meanwhile, Shazam is nowhere to be seen, Aquaman's solo movie comes out next, The Flash's solo movie is slated for 2022, and Batman's solo movie is going to release with a different main actor entirely. Let's fix this. So, here's our version.
Superman movie, Wonder Woman movie, Batman movie, Aquaman movie, Flash movie, Justice League movie, mic drop. Cyborg didn't get his own movie, but that's okay. Neither did Black Widow or Hawkeye. So let's just put Cyborg in the Batman movie. Sure! Then, after the dust settles from the incredible Justice League movie, you can start rolling out the weird ones, like Suicide Squad and Shazam! Now that you've established that you can make good movies. Do a few sequels. Give Cyborg his own movie. Maybe that movie could establish the Teen Titans, and you can spin them off into a TV show if you really feel like you have to.
Then, and only then, do you pit Batman and Superman against each other. They've worked together before, they've probably worked together since, and now they are done working together. From there, it pretty much writes itself. A few sequels, a few more establishers, and a couple of weird ones, and just like that, we're at Justice League 2 and even Justice League 3 before you even know it. Quick side note, I didn't include Black Adam for personal reasons. I think solo villain movies are a bad idea. I think Venom was a bad idea, I think Morbius is a bad idea, and I think Black Adam is a bad idea. Hang on, wait, sorry, I think I might have messed up. Speaking of solo villain movies, I think we forgot someone.
What do you mean?
Well, we never mentioned the Joker movie.
Oh yeah, that's because DC said Joker's not connected to the rest of them. They want it to be its own thing.
Wait, what? Why? Why bother? Okay, well, I guess that's a good segue into our next topic. That's how we'd redo the timeline if we could start from the beginning. But if we had to start now, honestly, just forget everything else and go with Joker. For better or for worse, that movie got a lot of publicity and was actually pretty good. It's even nominated for like a couple Oscars. So just start over. Go with the flow that Joker set up and officially declare that no movies going forward will be connected to the first couple. Problem sort of solved, at least.
So that's it, at least for now. Who knows? Maybe we'll revisit in a couple of years when they decide to screw up even more DC properties. Or maybe they'll get their act together and start producing actually good films. Who knows? James Gunn is directing the Suicide Squad, so it might actually be good this time. Also, if you'd like us to do a deep dive into one of these movies individually, let us know in the comments. We have a lot to say about most of these movies, especially Suicide Squad.
Now, we've been ripping on DC for quite a while now. It wouldn't really be fair if we didn't give Marvel a fair shake, too. Marvel isn't without its own issues, and we'll be sure to cover them in our next episode of If We Made, which will be all about the MCU. So, look forward to that when it comes out, eventually.